Yeah, speaking of the fog makers,
yeah.
ham-fisted fog makers of war.
Right.
Eylon Levy has been suspended as the Israeli government spokesperson. This is a fascinating development. We can even touch on some of the conspiracy theories about why this happened, as well as the actual stated reason why it happened. So there was an exchange with a UK member of Parliament that people can find online. It's really fascinating to see the back and forth. But the gist of it was that Eylon Levy was basically just regurgitating talking points that his government has been pushing, for weeks now, basically saying there is no restriction on aid entering into Israel. I mentioned earlier how gaslighting is an overused term, but is appropriate in the coverage of this war because anybody can see with their eyes that there is a famine going on. The UN is saying 1 million people are starving, and that that hundreds of thousands are on the brink of famine, and in famine, children are dying of malnutrition and starvation. Those are the facts on the ground. And then we're told by the IDF, actually, there's no restrictions whatsoever on aid, and aid can just flow in completely unrestricted. You're like, what? That's insane. So, but most of us, we're just suffering through Twitter like everybody else, and we just watch these lies go through. This member of Parliament had just returned from a trip to the region, and had talked to people at the UN, talked to people involved in aid distribution, and saw Eylon Levy's claim that, hey, aid can just flow right into Gaza, no problem at all. And she said, hey, that doesn't seem true. I was just there. But it's interesting what you're saying. Are you saying that more aid can get in? And he's like, absolutely, test us. If the UK sends another 100 trucks worth of aid, another 100 trucks can get in. And so what she does is she takes his comments, sends them to Cameron, and says, look what the Israeli government is saying. Which is, it's almost funny because it's taking what the Israeli government spokesperson is saying seriously as the truth, and then trying to apply it as policy, when everybody involved in this knows that this is just kind of propaganda. This is just what people are saying. So she takes this and says, look what he says. Then he starts backpedaling and saying, well, we can only do 44 trucks an hour at this one crossing. And so she quickly does the math, and she's like, okay, well, that's many more trucks that are currently getting in. So we appreciate that you have said, 100 more trucks a day can get in, which is a 50% increase over the number you've said. Then he backpedals more and starts talking about how, well, before October 7th, half the trucks getting in were cement that Hamas was using to make tunnels, and gets into this, well, what are you talking about? None of this makes any sense. But what point are you trying to make? We're not trying to send in cement right now. We're trying to send in, food and medicine and maternity kits and the basics that people need for survival. And it became essentially an international incident because he was basically caught lying in public, and the people on the ground had to say, well, no, we're actually not going to let in 50% more trucks. It's not going to happen. So they suspend him. That's what happened. But what a lot of people are wondering is, wait a minute, how this is the thing you're going to suspend this guy for? This is the Israeli government's line. They say this to everybody who asks. The fact that it's not true is not new. Everybody knew it wasn't true. So why are you coming after him? People have pointed out that Netanyahu's wife, Sarah Netanyahu, who has been convicted of corruption herself in Israel, has always hated this guy. That he's kind of a liberal Zionist who protested against the Supreme Court reforms that were intended to basically let the Netanyahu family off, and also that he's getting too popular. At the Knesset meeting, the Times of Israel reported yesterday that Netanyahu said one of the problems with Israeli propaganda globally is that we being Israel, we don't have people who can string two English sentences together, or two words together, he said. And they're like, what if we give you more money for the Hasbara efforts? He's like, no, it's not just money. We don't have enough English speakers who are able to do this. And Levy has gotten extremely popular around the world. And so the thinking among people watching this closely is that this was a chance to take him down a notch, that he was getting kind of too good at his job. I don't know, what's your read on this entire ridiculous situation?
I mean, yeah, it sounds like there are behind the scenes sort of problems, fissures in the Netanyahu relationship with the liberal Zionists that plagues Netanyahu and anyone sort of in the Netanyahu coalition more broadly. From his perspective, if you're not quite Ben-Gvir, but you're also not Levy, then yeah, that these fissures are real and actually are severely hamper Netanyahu's ability to govern as he wishes.
Hey, if you liked that video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Breaking Points.
If you want to see the rest of Counterpoints, go to breakingpoints.com to become a premium member and get the full uncut show every morning in your inbox and on Spotify.
Help us build independent news and get the full show every